Good morning, and welcome to another session of Facebook Tuesday. It's John Sautter, Association, along with a writer behind the camera, and we're bringing you another edition of our social media video. We have to tell you, it's a recording. You're seeing this on the 12th of February. We actually did this 3 days earlier, and as you can see around us, it's 20 here. We're doing can have a recorded session because even though you're seeing this 2 days before Valentine's Day and 4 days before spring break, I am down in sunny Florida enjoying the beaches, I hope, in warmer weather right now, but we wanted to keep doing these every other week. So, welcome to the session. Today we're right on State Street, right outside Pfendler Hall behind me. Pfendler Hall opened up in 1901, the second oldest building on campus. And there's just a lot about this great historical facility that we wanted to bring your attention and maybe hope you have a chance to walk through it once you get back to campus. So we're going to go inside the beautiful doors and go inside the lobby and have a look around, and we'll see you inside. And a lot of the building that's built by the track. And so we wanted to point out this nice plaque that commemorates some of the unique this particular building as we go inside. As we go, I wanted to make sure we got these beautiful doors, very attractive doors, not like the modern doors we have today. They've really tried to maintain the integrity of the architecture, even at the entryway. So April, why don't you hop on here, and we'll go up into the lobby. I'll scoot ahead of you. And here we're in the lobby, and you start seeing the beautiful wooden staircases and banisters and the archways, the neoclassical architecture of the building. So the story is that this building was opened up in 1901, the second oldest building on campus, University Hall being the first, opened in 1877. It served as the home of the Purdue School of Agriculture for many years. Actually, there's a safe behind me where they used to put the money and the fees they would collect. We'll have a look at that shortly. But it served as the home to School of Agriculture for many years, right up until around 1990. Well, actually, 1969 is when it was changed to Entomology Hall, as the ag school had its own building. The entomology department, Tom Turpin and his bugs all came into this building, and it was Entomology Hall starting in 1969. By around 1990, the early 1990s or so, the building had really kind of run its course, and it was actually vacated. It was the decision was made that it was too expensive to renovate. It was hard to keep up because 1901, when it opened, just to put that in perspective, the Purdue power plant did not become operational till 1903. So the building had gas lights. It had a boiler room with radiator heat and that sort of thing, hard to maintain. And so a lot of things had happened. But again, our country was really starting to kick into gear about that time. 1903, the Wright brothers had their first flight at Kitty Hawk. 1908 is when the Model T came off the line. You could have a Model T in any color you wanted, as long as it was black, for $950. And so that was the time, that was the era that this building with its beautiful neoclassical architecture actually arrived on campus. So just a great storied history of this building that's been maintained, thanks to the preservationists that took over around the late almost the year 2000 or so, as the university was considering demolishing the building and starting over fresh in this site. The preservationists got together and actually made a great presentation that was supported by students, faculty, staff, community members, and even a legislator got involved. And in 2001, the decision was made to reopen it. They put $16 million back into the building. 2001, they named it for Dave Pfendler. Dave Pfendler, who's a longtime staff member. We'll talk about him in just a second. And so now, what was Ag Hall, which became Entomology Hall, now is Pfendler Hall. It's the home to the Department of Forestry and Natural Resources. And that includes forestry, aquatic science, wildlife, and there's a sustainability department also, all located within this building, all doing a variety of research, as you might imagine, in each of those areas, in fisheries and wildlife management, and maintaining forests, highly regarded with a lot of the research they're doing in the labs. When it was renovated in 2001, it was actually attached to Pfendler Hall, which is right behind me. And that's where a lot of the labs for the forestry and the natural resources areas take place. So beautiful old building. We're now going to walk over to a plaque, which is, has the information, the dedication for Dave Pfendler. Dave Pfendler, maybe many of you watching knew Dave Pfendler, on the staff for over 40 years, or around 42 years or so, as an associate dean and counselor. And as it says about Dave Pfendler, a man of uncommon common sense and wisdom, helped shape the lives and careers of generations of Purdue students. He listened, he asked pointed questions. His no-nonsense counsel was direct and firm, yet compassionate and fair. The naming of the building is a tribute to this man, a legend in his time. So Pfendler Hall, and then there's a name for him, and there's another plaque, a nice plaque for Dave Pfendler with his photograph here, expressing grateful appreciation. Also in this building, in addition to forestry and natural resources, we have the Purdue Ag Alumni Association, located right here in this office. Danica Kirkpatrick is the director of the Ag Alumni Association, took over for Danya Lester, who many of you may know, who took over from Maury Williamson. Ag Alumni Association, one of the largest, more well-organized and managed Ag Alumni Associations in the country, known perhaps mostly because of its annual fish fry, which occurred just about 10 days ago, where they had a variety of speakers come in down to Indianapolis at the fairgrounds. I can tell you some short stories about when it used to be here on campus in the Armory, and they would fill it with thousands of people, and we would line up behind a rope, and they would actually fire a shotgun as they lowered the rope, and you ran to your seats, and it was about 2.5, 3 hours of shenanigans and speakers. But don't you know, the governor showed up, and senators and representatives showed up, and presidents showed up, and I can remember vividly Art Hansen, President Hansen, standing at a podium that all of a sudden collapses right in front of him as Maury Williamson pulled one of his tricks. The ag fish fry, renowned in its time, still going very, very well, all through the Ag Alumni Association and the folks who kind of keep it going. We're now going to move over here. April will follow me as we make our way over to the connecting part of Pfendler Hall, where it now connects to Pfendler Hall down these hallways. But I want to point out, here's the safe. The safe is located in the building. When they did the renovation, I suspect the decision must have been for all the effort to take to install the safe, to try to get it out of here, and the amount of effort that it would take, it was better to keep it here as kind of a replica. And so this is the safe where the School of Agriculture for many years would have kept the tuition and fees for the students, and perhaps the fees also for the home extension folks as they come in for their professional development all year long. The School of Agriculture has probably done one of the best jobs of continually reinventing itself and making it relevant to today's students and farmers and ag people across the country. And so this is really kind of indicative of kind of what they had done. So now we'll make our way over to one of the wooden staircases, gorgeous wooden staircase with the banisters that have been maintained, and the steps still creak just a little bit, but it's part of the uniqueness of this particular building. And so we're going to go up, and I'll meet you at the top of the stairs. Hello again. We've arrived on the second floor here in Pfendler Hall as part of our social media video, and I wanted to have April kind of show you these beautiful archways that have been maintained, so you really do get a feel for how they have really maintained the neoclassical architecture, the integrity of this building, which was the intent when they saved it, again with the wooden floors and things along the way. So we're going to make our way now towards the back of the building as we would head toward Pfendler Hall, the new building, and so you can see where we transition, you know, from wood to the linoleum floors. The thing I want to point out are the different plaques. The plaques that we have here depicting the different deans that they've had of the School of Agriculture over the years, who have just done a superb job. Earl Butts, our U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, which reminds me, that the integrity of the school and its high regard has resulted in 4 people with Purdue degrees. 3 of those folks were actually secretaries of agriculture for the United States, and 1 was an acting secretary. And for the United States, I think we've only had 31 secretaries of agriculture and 4 acting total. And so of the 31, 3 have been Purdue people. Of the 4 acting, 1 has been a Purdue person. Just kind of shows the high regard for the school and the leadership that the different deans have provided. And here's the last couple of deans. Jay Eckridge is now our provost at the university. Randy Woodson, who was the dean here, who became our provost, is now the president at North Carolina State University. Again, kind of showing the quality of the superb leadership that has been brought to the Ag School. We're now going to run down to the other end of the hallway. I'll meet you there. Okay, we're back and we're wrapping up. We're at kind of the north end of the facility. We actually have a student studying over here. So you can see it's just a real student. There he is. But this area is a wonderful place for receptions because, again, of the integrity maintained in the building and this room, but then of the view that it has of campus. And so remembering that the building opened in 1901, we can look across the street and there's Matthews Hall. That was the home of the School of Home Economics, and that opened in 1923. Directly across State Street is Stone Hall, but that's where Boarding Hall was located, which opened up the university in 1874 at that first class. It was demolished around 1926. And so you can just imagine people standing at the window here, looking out, seeing Matthews Hall being built, seeing Boarding Hall being demolished as Stone Hall is built in its replacement. And behind Stone Hall, you see the cupola of University Hall, the old building on campus, 1877, and even farther in the distance, the little bit of the bell tower. And of course, you get to see the snowy lawn and the students on their way to class. It's just a great day here in February as the students are making their way to class, anticipating spring break in 4 weeks or so. So we look forward to that. So we hope you enjoyed this particular session of Facebook Live Tuesday Tour, and we hope to see you again next time.